Hi everyone, I think we're live. Sorry, I was a little bit delayed because I realized I hadn't set up the camera on this MacBook. So there we go. Hopefully you can see me, hopefully you can hear me, hopefully there's some people there. Let me know. Oh yes, there's a few of you there. It's slow, it's running up, but lots of hellos. Hi to everyone. I hope you're all well. I am not long back from my holiday away, which was absolutely incredible. So yeah, how are you all? What's news? What's going on? What's happening with you? I can't get used to this camera. It's a very odd way around on StreamYard. Anyway, I thought I would just have a little. Now I have to apologise because I did promise that I would have a party hat and I would have streamers and I would have cake. But all the shops that we went to on the way back from Wales, nothing, absolutely not a one. I couldn't find anything. So yeah, so I've just got some fizzy raspberry, a whole pint. So I'll be off my face on raspberries. But I hope all is well with you all. I hope things are good. It's very strange doing a live without anybody else, like as in on here as well. Lots of you having a right old chat here and saying hello, but yeah, not it's odd like not having my mum or an author or Lena or somebody else. So I've actually just been reading all of your comments for my 5th BookTube birthday, which was on Friday, and it was so lovely, so lovely. Although somebody gave me a lecture on my hair. Apparently my hairstyle doesn't suit me and I should know better, but it was left with a hug. So we'll take from that what we will. So I thought I would kind of have a bit of a random chat about what's like, not just what's been going on, what's coming up, and what's been going on, but I guess just a bit of a chat and see if there's anything that you'd like to chat to me about, any ideas you've got that you'd like to see on the channel, anything like that, anything and everyone, anything and everyone, anything, everything and anything, anything and everything. Wow, I can even waffle to myself while you're chatting to me. So Gillian, I appreciate your 90s white wine spritzer very much indeed. So I was away this weekend, and it has been one of the best weekends I've ever had for kind of a couple of reasons. So lots of you may remember that I mentioned on this channel a while back on The Red Hill by Mike Parker, which is about Mike and his partner Preds, and the house that they inherited from another gay couple who were like the first gay couple to get married in Wales, I think, and had been a couple since before it was legal to be homosexual. And we actually went and stayed on the Red Hill in the grounds. We were in a tent with a bed in it, and then it had the most amazing old sort of rustic, I don't want to say ramshackle, but I mean that in like the best possible way, dairy farm, which had like the shower and the kitchen in it, and then we had a huge pond that you could swim in, and there were like kites and buzzards in the sky and swallows and bats at night and newts, and there were puppies. There was a lot of puppies. Jane Dolman has asked if I have brought back a puppy. They were 4 weeks old, so they weren't allowed to be brought back, which was possibly a good thing because I was very tempted by one in particular called Bessie, who was sort of the smallest of the litter, although she wasn't like the runt of the litter, she was just the smallest, but she had such a kind of no nonsense attitude, and she just liked what she liked, and she just did, you know what I mean, she was just, yeah, she was hilarious, quite naughty, and I thought, yes, you're a bit of me. However, no, we haven't got any. There is one left in the litter. I'm still tempted. I don't think I'm allowed, but I met, funnily enough, both of the parents of the litter. Well, Floss was the mum, and she was staying there anyway because she lives there, and she was brilliant because every morning, like about 9 o'clock, she'd come and she just wanted to play with sticks, and she was just absolutely brilliant. And then the dad arrived for a visit, although he couldn't see the puppies because they're too little and they haven't had their injections, and he was lovely too. So you know that the temperament's going to be great. But yeah, Amanda Reed was concerned about Chris swimming in that pond. Oh, he was happy as anything. He absolutely loves it. There were like tadpoles, which he was saying were as big as sharks, but they weren't as big as sharks. And there were newts in there, and yeah, there was quite a lot of life, not only fish, but quite a lot of life. But I didn't swim in it because I was too nervous. But we're going back. We've booked to go back already. We literally did it when I got back. And I'm going to swim then, I promise. And also possibly we're going to go for longer. So we're going to go and swim in a lake because I love lake swimming. I'm not so good with ponds. I like lakes. Yes, I'm going to do that. Although I say pond, it was huge. It's like a swimming pool sized pond. Anyway, it was, Louise, back to basics after lockdown. It was, and just really enjoying nature. And it's a very magical place, that part of North Wales. It's got something about it. I can't quite explain it, but when you're there and you're living quite close to nature, really, honestly, it was phenomenal. So that was a trip away with a bookish twist. And I've asked Melanie if I can feature it on Frank magazine, and she said yes. So I think she wants to go as well, actually. But Chris actually read the whole of this book in the space of 2.5 days, and just kind of because he was reading where he was and the history of where he was, he got so much out of it. So can't recommend this book or going to that place enough. So have I missed questions from people? I'm so sorry if I have. I'm dreadful at this because I need to kind of keep my eye on everything. I have done a vlog of it, Melanie. So there will be a vlog not next weekend, the weekend after, because what I'm going to start doing is recording in advance, and then I can play catch up and edit and stuff, because it's one of the things that I've kind of got on my periphery as kind of, I've got to stop over promising that I will deliver things on certain days, because invariably it never happens, and I'm going to be really busy this summer. So I have to make sure that I pace myself properly, as it were. So but no, it was great. Monet has bought a lot of beach reads this weekend. Good, because we'll all be heading to the beaches hopefully over the forthcoming weeks. Samantha Walls has a question. What books would you like to read as part of your Savage and Sykes book club? Samantha, that's a very clever question and a very cheeky question, because I think you're trying to get a secret out of me. We picked, so what we're going to be doing with the Sykes and Savage book club, which for those of you who haven't seen it, is a book club that I do with Melanie. Melanie and I only met online just over a year ago, because we were told that we would get on. And well, I thought we would get on. Other people said we would get on. We have got on really, really well, and she's become a very, very close friend, and I adore her to bits. We've kind of created this friendship through the pandemic and doing an online book club, and now we're doing it in real life again, which is ace. And what we're doing going forward is, one, we're going to be giving you like a season of choices at a time. So you'll get 4 choices in advance. Admittedly, the first one will be like only a month away, but you'll have etc amount of months before the other ones we read the other ones. But also we really want to put like not our money where our mouth is, because we don't get paid to do it, we do it for the love. But we want to use it as a way of really kind of highlighting amazing independent bookshops. So what we've said now is we're only going to record in independent bookshops where we can, and we're hoping to be independent bookshop sellers on a day in October. So that's going to be really good fun. We're going to just pop up in some random bookshops in London. So that's going to be really, really nice. I'm really, really excited about that. But yeah, we just want to do things that really kind of promotes. And what we're going to do is we'll choose some more well-known books, but we'll also choose some lesser-known books, and we will choose some indie books as well. So yeah, we've got one non-fiction book that I'm so excited about that we're going to be doing in the next. In fact, there's 2 non-fiction books that I'm really excited about, because one of them is about food and being northern, and me and Melanie both love food and we're northern, and the other one's about nature, and it's done from a really different angle, so that's exciting. I don't know what happened there. I kicked myself out. Apologies, everybody. I'm back. It wouldn't be something that I was doing if there wasn't a cock up at some point. Oi, oi. Anyway. Am I back? Can you all see me? Am I back? Is this still happening? It's something to do with when I try and look at comments. It doesn't like it. Anyway, so speaking of which, some questions, because I did say this is where people can ask whatever they would like to ask. Let's see if this now does it. Okay, right. I've done it. I think I'm not going to ruin it. Josie Easton said that I've inspired her to go to North Wales. I do go to North Wales. I think it is one of my favourite places, not just in the UK, but I think in the whole world, because there's so many different bits of it, and they're all kind of within reach of each other-ish. But yeah, you could just travel around it and just find out so much more. It's definitely, I can officially say I will live there, I think, within the next 5 years. I think I can say that is true. So we have, what's the next one? Janie Edwards would like to know, is Crime Time with Pip returning? You've created a monster as I'm a little hooked on crime fiction now. Do I have me and Pip's next book choice? I've got the one that we're going to be talking about. We were supposed to be talking about this earlier this year, but Pip's day job is so busy and bonkers because she's a project manager like I am, but I go off and do library stuff. She does cultural stuff, and she does like events where you can get like thousands of people turning up. So she did this during the pandemic. Her last project was an illuminated walk through Liverpool with artists creating these illuminated works from all around the world, and it was just incredible. So that was when we were meant to do this one, When No One Is Watching, by Liz Cole, but we didn't. I did see that Lauren and David read this together, which I thought was super duper 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 cute. But we will be. The next one that we're going to be doing, I don't have it next to me, I don't think. Or am I telling a big fib? No, I don't have it next to me. But it's the First Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. We're going to be doing that. I think the first week of July is the soonest that we're able to do it. So yes, it will be back. And then what we're going to try and do is do it every quarter. That is the aim with that one. Rebecca wants to know, are we going to see more of your mum soon? I'm really, really trying not to press this button that sort of seems to make me disappear, which some people might enjoy that, me vanishing for a little bit, not waffling continuously. Yeah, Rebecca wants to know, we're going to see more of your mum soon. So my mum is coming to stay in a couple of weekends' time, and then we will be recording our Women's Prize shortlist in order of our preference video. So that's going to be really, really good fun. We have not spoken about the books at all. So it's literally going to be us finding out what we think there and then. So that's really, I suppose we have spoken about them when we did the sort of long list to short list, but we didn't go into the nitty gritty of what we thought, if that makes sense. So that will be when Mum will return. We haven't decided what else we might film. We are thinking about going away together, so that could be something that we could do, like a vlog while we go away, which actually might link into what Pages and Stages us, which is where do you want to visit in the UK next? Because me and my mum are both really, really keen to go to Hay and kind of go around all the secondhand bookshops, or we would quite like to go to Wigtown in Scotland, where there is like a town of bookshops. So maybe a bookish trip with my mother. But in terms of where I want to visit next in the UK, well, I've never been to Whitby, and I'd really like to go to Whitby. Hopefully for work, I'm going to Newcastle really soon, which is where my mum went to university, and she took me. I was 3 when she started university. She would have been 19. And so I love Newcastle to bits. So I'm hoping to go there. And I'd love to see Grace from GK Reads, who I adore and who I have known before we both did BookTube, because we've ended up working on projects together, and I've known her since I was blogging, and I went and did something for Durham Book Festival, which is not far. Durham's amazing as well, so that's where I would like to go. Gillian, yeah, but Whitby, because I've never been there. I just want to do more of North Wales. I'm on such a North Wales hype at the moment, but then I don't want to overdo it. So Gillian Bridges would like to know, when will summer book hibernation start? Very good question. Me and Tom have been chatting on WhatsApp today, leaving each other little voice notes. And we didn't mention, actually, we were kind of really focused on, we wanted to go to the Tower of London together and pretend to be 2 different Annes. So I think I'm going to be Anne Boleyn and he's going to be Anne Cleves. But we're looking at possibly September, because between now and September, I'm going to be traveling the country to go to all the libraries where my day job projects are going live and helping with those, and being like literally then, obviously vlogging and all that kind of stuff while I'm there. And then I'm also doing the recording for the BBC Sounds podcast. and I may also be filming something else, but I'm not going to say any more. If anybody asks me the question, I might answer it. I might not, because I don't know what I'm allowed to say, actually. So that was those questions. If I miss any questions, by the way, just drop them in the comments, because I'm now going through them in some form of order. Lots of people telling me I'm back now. I'm glad. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I vanished. People have asked if they can visit me in North Wales. I don't live there yet, but if I do, I mean, the irony is, I really, 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 really want to move to North Wales, but we might just have got an allotment, and the queues for allotments are so blinking long that I feel like we've reached the Holy Grail quite quickly, and therefore maybe we shouldn't move for at least 5 years until we've really got the joy out of it. But then I suppose if I was in North Wales, because you can get more land in certain parts of it where we're looking, I could have a little sort of mini, like a mini thing, a mini allotment. That's the word I'm looking. So I miss Tom Reed's things too. Where's my book? I miss him very, very much indeed. But I'm lucky because I get to chat with him like all the time. Graham Sillers Reads wants to know, what are you currently reading? I am officially between books, because while I was away, I read 2 books. I thought I was going to read loads. It always happens. I go away and read absolutely diddly squat compared to what I normally read. Chris goes and shows off by reading a real chunkster and getting through it and just, yeah, that. But I read Summer Water, which I think is going to be one of my books of the year, by Sarah Moss, which is set in a holiday park where you sort of are dropped into the lives and thoughts of various different people around the holiday park over one particular really, really rainy day. And each character has something quite like a glimmer of darkness about them in all sorts of ways. And there's also this tension that something quite awful might happen. And as I was reading it, I was getting more and more, not like it's going to give you an anxiety attack, but I was getting more and more anxious as I was reading it. And then something does happen. But it's, the way she goes into characters is fantastic. Like, she covers a whole spectrum of people. Like, there's a man in his sort of 70s or 80s. She goes into the minds of teenage boys and girls. There's a real bit about a young girl who's being really badly bullied. There's a brilliant one, which is, I was telling Melanie about it earlier on WhatsApp, because I was like, I wish I'd read this book with you, because we would have had a great conversation about it. There's a character in it called Millie, who, as she's having sex with a fiance who's like got this goal that they have to have orgasms at the same time. Sorry, it is live, so you're getting it live and what's the word? Unedited, full throttle. But see, this is where I always think, oh, have I gone too far then? Have I said something too outrageous? This is like when I get my shoulders out on Instagram and people quickly vanish. Yeah, so they're having sex and she's kind of thinking all the different thoughts about her day, and but also thinking about the sex, but also thinking about fantasy she's got and how right or wrong they are. But the bit that made me howl is when she starts thinking about a bacon butty. Anyway, so that's one of the books that I read. And then the other one that I read was this, which is The Long Dry by Conan Jones, who is one of my favourite authors and a Welsh author. And this is set on a farm. And again, you're dropped into sort of the inner monologues of a couple, the farmer and his wife. I mean, actually, one of their children at first, and then it sort of spirals out a little bit more as they go about their sort of days, and you see the tensions in their relationships, and you see what they're sort of not communicating to each other, but what they're really thinking. And I really like that. I find that quite, if an author does it well, that moment where you as the reader are kind of in the mix of this sort of miscommunication. Yeah, I thought this was really, really, really fantastic. So yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to start next. I'm probably not going to start anything tonight. I think I might wait until tomorrow being the 1st of June. But I think what I'm planning on doing, and let me know my thoughts on this, is let me know my thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts on this. I know my thoughts on this. I think I'm going to spend the month of June reading solely the books that I was most excited about that have come out in the first 6 months that I thought I would have read by now, because I always just get really, really behind and I'm dreadful. Kieran, KD Books, who I adore, is very pleased that I have this love for Wales, or as he calls it, Gogledd Cymru. But please don't forget us in the south. I like the south of Wales as well. I really like Cardiff. And there's just something about the north of Wales that sort of sings to me in some way that I can't quite describe. Scout Harris wants to know if anything I'm doing is to do with Sky Arts. Couldn't possibly comment. Yeah. Oh, I've suddenly skipped. Now I'm at a point where we're talking about simultaneous orgasms. Let's see what else are people asking. If you're Anne Boyle, then you must watch the Queen Anne Boleyn, not Anne Boyle. Oh, the Anne Boleyn Channel 5 series that's coming on here. I'm so excited about. It looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing. Amanda Reed says, I better get on the list for the North Wales allotment now. Well, if we move to North Wales, one of the key things is going to be about the size of the garden that we would like, because we would definitely like and to grow our own and become more sustainable is something that we've really kind of got in our heads at the moment. Yeah, there's that. The allotment wait in Brighton is 3 years. Here, apparently for some of them, it's 7 to 8. And in London, my CEO of the charity that I work for with libraries, I think there's like a waiting list of 12 years or something ridiculous. So it's just mad, absolutely madness. Lots of people really, really enjoyed Summer Water. So that's good because, yeah, it is. I would say Kay Dewey's just said, I haven't read Summer Water yet, but Ghostwall is very good. I think this is, I loved Ghostwall. I think this is even better. And I'm hoping that her new one, which is coming out this autumn, is going to arrive here very soon because I have emailed the publisher about it. So we've got that one. I watched The Kitchen Garden with Ellie and Kate for gardening. Oh, I'm going to look that up. Thank you very much, Louise. I'm really keen on finding sort of allotment-y, gardening-y kind of channels. Oh, I thought I'll bring this up because nobody's asked yet, but Chris's channel is being delayed slightly because he's been incredibly busy at work because supermarkets during a pandemic have been, and I've been traveling again a lot, and so I've not been able to sort of edit / nudge / poke / push. It's like not pushy mum, it's pushy husband. It's not really, but he did do a really, really, really lovely video for Vintage Books and Rukmini Iyer where he cooked one of her recipes on Instagram. So yeah, you can always see that. Right, who is next? Tony Lee, how did you like Get a Life with Chloe Brown? Just started it. Well, I don't have it to hand because that would be far too organized, but how did I like it? 1 second, caller, while I just move some books around because I wasn't expecting to get loads of books out, but I'm happy to. I liked it to the point where I have the next 2. So I enjoyed it very, very much. I have been doing it as like a romance buddy read, or been starting to do romance buddy reads with the lovely Becca from Becca and the Books, who I might be doing some reading sprints with when we're reading Take a Hint, Danny Brown. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know how realistic some of the elements of it were, but I'll talk about that probably in a wrap up. But I'm still working out like what I can and can't say because it's very saucy, and I always worry. I've got quite a naughty sense of humor. I like a double entendre. I like a euphemism. They chuckle me. I've also got a bit of a slight toilet sense of humor. It's just the way I am. I even filmed a little bit of the vlog while I was away about the whole compost toilet, not using obviously, but like just talking about the compost loo and it being like the best loo with a view I've ever seen. Anyway, but I always worry that people will be like, oh, Simon shouldn't be talking about toilet things and euphemisms and stuff. He's meant to be serious about books. But you know, we've all got different facets to our personalities, I guess. Anyway, did I just go on a huge tangent? I did. It wouldn't be me if I didn't. But no, I absolutely loved the first one. It was just also just the sort of thing I needed where I just enjoyed it. There was like, it wasn't taxing, it was enjoyable, it went in ways I wasn't expecting. And I thought the way she wrote about chronic illness as someone who has a chronic illness was really, really, really good. Amanda Reed, simultaneous orgasms of the pressure none of us need in 2021. You're quite right. I would agree with that one completely. So I've just whizzed too fast again. Oh, I've gone. Where are we? Lots of people saying that Sarah Moss is underrated. I would agree with you. I think she's unrelated. She is unrelated to me, but she's also underrated. Louise wants to know if I keep any sort of book diary. I don't. I did have Goodreads, but I am one of the many, I think it's become a bit of a thing, people who have left Goodreads and now have a story graph, which is secret and private and I don't share because I've noted that there's a few things that I find tricky when you're, and I hate this term, but like a public reader or influencer, that's an even worse term, where you'll start a book and people will pile on and tell you generally, they won't tell you how good it is, they'll normally tell you how shit it is. So that's kind of like an absolute buzzkill for books. So also because I'm reading lots of stuff or have been reading lots of stuff for the Desmond Elliott Prize, which the shortlist is announced on either tomorrow or Wednesday. I can't remember which. I should know that as a judge. I only know when the finale decision is, which is Friday morning. We'll be making a decision, and then you'll be told the winner at the beginning of July. And excitingly, I think I'll be having an actual proper after party on this channel with the winner. So that'll be really, really good fun. So that's something that you'll have coming in July. But what was going to, yeah, because obviously I read for prizes, I can't really talk about the books. I don't think it's very fair on the book or the author because I'm only one of three. It could, if I didn't like it, people could think, oh, I'm not going to be shortlisted, and that could be wrong because I could get outvoted. Just like if I liked it and the other two judges didn't, people might get their hopes up because I liked it, and then, you know what I mean? So I just think it's kind of a professional thing. But in terms of going back to keeping a sort of book diary, Storyvault are the production company who makes Sky Arts Book Club. Why would I have them in my head at the moment? I don't know. But yeah, Story Graph is where I'm doing that. Sarah Richards says, Simon, our garden could have been your allotment. How could we take over your garden? I wouldn't want to do that to anybody. Gardens are precious things. KG moved to West Wales 5 years ago and loved it. Oh, Jane Dolman, it's my choice for book club this month. Struggling. Maybe American Dirt, Small Pleasures, Unsettled Ground. Any thoughts, everyone? Oh, well, American Dirt's got that whole hoo-ha about it. Small Pleasures is really good. I didn't like the ending, and Settled Ground I think is great, but I'm going to say no more than that because of my mother might see this, although she'll now see me talking about simultaneous orgasms. Anyway, that. Although, as Kieran pointed out in a comment on my previous post, my mum was talking about French flapswinch, which made me absolutely hysterical. Do I keep a journal? No, I don't. I used to. Actually, no, that's not true. I do on my Patreon, and this is making it sound like it's a plug, and it's not, because if you want to be part of Patreon, that's lovely. If you don't, I have no issue. It's just like for me nice to have an extra, but I wouldn't stop doing this, if you know what I mean. Anyway, see, as soon as you mention Patreon, I start getting a bit all over my words. So I keep, like, I send postcards on there to like to all tiers. So every so often it's kind of, and that's almost like becoming a bit more of a diary, and that's the aim, is to kind of do that with it more. Rachel would like to know, get Chris on Bake Off campaign. Do you know what? I have said for years that Chris should do Bake Off. My family all agree that Chris should do Bake Off. I'm not being mean saying this because he would admit this himself. Pastry week would be a bad week for him. That's the one thing it's his Achilles heel of baking. So yeah, Graham still has enjoyed Chris's cooking video. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I need to share it on my stories. I haven't actually on Instagram, and I should. Evie Brown was someone's favorite book fluencer. Amanda Reed, that's worse. That's even worse. If I moved to the north of Wales, Kieran wants to know. Oh, I've skipped too far, I think, possibly. Blimey, Rachel has said that Chloe Brown wasn't saucy enough. I found it really saucy. The only thing that I found odd was that it was all very much one-sided sauce and steam, and that I just didn't believe that a straight man would be that. Sorry to any straight men watching this, but I didn't believe that a straight man would be that giving in that terms, from what I know from a lot of my straight female friends. Anyway, speaking of straight men, Kieran, wait, yes, I'm so long about Wales. If you move to the north, does this mean that you'll learn Welsh? I already know some Northern Welsh. That's what I'm going to say. I know, what do I know? Fenywidi Simon, Sydd heddiw. yeah, I know a little bit of North Welsh already because I had a North Welsh ex-boyfriend. Anyone else doing Whatever-thon in June? Amanda, I know that Becca from Becca in the Books definitely is. Tony Lee, I think I need it at the moment, read 2 pandemic reads back-to-back times. Oh, 2 pandemic reads in a pandemic. I've not been able to do that. Rachel has made a good point. She said, isn't your BookTube channel your book diary? And I guess it is actually, especially the vlogs now. And it's interesting because, like, I'm not big on stats and big on looking at what's popular and what isn't, because I just want to do, although actually I lie, I had a real, not with YouTube actually, but with Instagram. For a little while, I was thinking, I don't feel like I'm a bookstagrammer anymore because I don't put pictures of books up, although I have put a picture, which I'm quite proud of Summer Water on my Instagram. And but then I just thought, actually, it doesn't matter. I think what I am is I'm not even anything grammar. I'm just a Simon grammar. Just like this is really Savage Reads is, I guess, more of a, like you said, diary. So yeah, I think that's kind of, yeah, I guess this is my diary, especially the reading vlogs. I think I just need to get better at doing them. Cindy wants to know, KD Books has said my Welsh pronunciation was 100%. Thank you very much. I'm quite proud of it. So there we go. Oh, that's that. Pastry week is bad for anyone who bakes, to be fair. Louise, you're correct. And I'm thrilled to see that Graham Silas has just bought On the Red Hill and Summer Water. Well, that's me doing my influencer, hate that term, job. Cindy, did I miss you saying when summer book hibernation will begin? It's not going to be in September. It will probably, me and Tom are going to be meeting up in September. We haven't talked about when we're going to do one. So Tom's kind of having an Instagram BookTube break. And I respect that completely. And I hadn't caught up with him for a little while until today. So we haven't actually got that far down the conversation, but I'm sure something will happen in some form. It might be that me and Mum maybe do it if Tom isn't feeling it. If he's all right with that and he gives us his blessing, we shall see. But actually, Cindy asking that question just reminded me, I made such a boo-boo in my June books that I'm most excited about video, and I feel awful about it because I forgot one book, and it's because I'd read it, and it's Still Life by Sarah Winman, and this is out in the UK tomorrow. And I don't know if the finished copy has one, but this special one has a quote. Oh, look, it's me. It's one of the highlights of my entire life, this quote being in a Sarah Winman proof. And do you know what was really lovely? She DM'd me and said, this is how wonderful a woman she is, and what a joy she is. She DM'd me and said that she loved that my words were in a book with hers, and I thought that was really, 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 really lovely. Anyway, this is the book, along with Jen Ashworth. Actually, there's 2 books that are particular standouts for me in June. This because I've read it and I absolutely loved it, and Jen Ashworth because I'm going to be reading that very, very soon, as we're going to be doing something, I think, possibly in a few weeks. But I urge you all to get it. I urge you all to have it shipped wherever you are if you can. And me and Sarah will be doing an event a week on Thursday for 4 indie. It's called 4 Indies at Home, and it's basically 4 independent booksellers in the UK who are doing digital events throughout the pandemic and probably beyond. And I'm really, really looking forward to chatting to Sarah about this because we haven't yet. I think we're hopefully going to be doing a event in real life in September, which I'm really, really looking forward to. So yeah, if you're going to be buying any books at the moment, this one. Although it says coming 10th of June, but I'm pretty sure it is out tomorrow. That's what I thought, but I could be wrong. That's what I've seen on social media anyway. And books sometimes get moved about for all sorts of reasons. I'm so happy that I'm seeing people say that they've pre-ordered Still Life and that they're excited for Still Life, and that makes me really, really happy. Gaming and Technology wants to know, please recommend me a fantasy book, sort of Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Your opinion matters a lot to me, sir. I don't read fantasy, so unfortunately I cannot really recommend it. It's something that I'm definitely going to do, though. I've been talking about it, and I need to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. I want to do a vlog where I read, it was going to be a romance, but I've already done that now, but where I read like a horror, a science fiction, and a fantasy, and possibly some other genre that I don't normally pick up, and just from there kind of try out these genres again that I haven't read for ages. Because one thing I've been thinking about a lot, here we go. One thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is that I do need a sip of my drink. So please feel free to talk amongst yourselves just for a second while I sip this. Sorry. Anything raspberry flavour, I'm down for it. And that's got the raspberry winky effect as well. That's quite winky raspberry, but I enjoy it. Yeah, I'm sure that lots of people recommend fantasy titles in here, and that would be great for me actually, because then I can think of what I might possibly want to read. I apologize that I'm being so tempting with all these wonderful books that you really must read, because you know they're also really, really great, and I would just recommend them. But I totally understand the book buying ban. But don't forget, library. Make sure you go to your libraries. You know, I'm all about libraries because I work for them, and get these in library form. And actually, I don't know, I'm not holding up this one as well. The Long Dry. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that. And also as well, I wanged on about this a bit on Instagram. When was it? Thursday, when I was in London. Thursday. That if you don't use your library, even if you're someone who gets lots of books, you go book shopping and all those kind of things, if you don't use your library, they'll just vanish. So there we go. Have you noticed my crazy that way, my crazy cactus shadow has just appeared? It looks like some kind of gnome, or maybe that's just me. So anyway, where's my book? What's the obstacle for you for fantasy? What puts you off? Anything with like loads of cloak action, and I think the problem with fantasy is I don't think my imagination's good enough for it. Same with sci-fi actually. So it's me, not the books. I think my brain just goes, well, that's not real. But then actually, if I know when I'm reading crime novels that it's not real. I don't know. There's something there. But I used to absolutely love fantasy when I was a kid. I used to read loads. I used to read the Choose Your Own Adventures, which invariably had like trolls and lots of people in cloaks and that whole kind of vibe about it. I know that fantasy isn't all trolls before anybody starts on me. Yes, I used to love those. And I loved The Hound of the Morrigan. Was it The Hounds of the Morrigan? That was an amazing book. So when I was younger, I used to really, really enjoy it. I never read Lord of the Rings, and I never read The Hobbit, but I did really like those sort of fantasy books. So I don't know why I didn't, basically, but I just didn't. Josie Easton wants to know what's my favorite genre. I would say my favorite genre. Well, this is what I was going to go off on a tangent about. I feel like, and let me know if any of you feel like this. I feel like the older I get, the sort of more widely I read, which in my head makes me think, gosh, like as a reader, I'm reading all this eclectic stuff and I'm really, really trying to find, like I'm finding myself as a reader. But then when I step back, I think, no, you're not. You're reading so much now. You don't actually always know. And I was looking back, because the video that's going to go live on Friday is my 25 favorite reads in the last 5 years. I was going back and looking, and interestingly, 2018 was one of the best reading years I think I've ever had. And I think if that's when I was going specifically for books that I knew I would really, really enjoy. And I feel like I've lost that. And maybe over the next month, where I read all the books that at January I was most excited for to arrive in the first 6 months, maybe that'll reignite that a little bit. I don't know. So that's my thoughts. Lots of people saying how great libraries are. Completely true. They are fantastic, phenomenal, amazing, wonderful, brilliant places. So while there's not some questions for it, but I will answer some questions that people sent in advance. People saying, where is the most favorite? So Amanda Lavelle wanted to know, what is the most favorite bookish place you've ever visited in the UK? Hers is Jane Austen's house, or the Bronte Parsonage. I've been to the Bronte Parsonage and I love that. And we went up to the hill that's supposed to be where Wuthering Heights is set, even though I'm not a fan of Wuthering Heights. I really, really love Jane Eyre. And my friend Polly, it was all roped up, and all we heard was my friend Polly just go, oops. And basically, she'd undone the rope and off we went inside, which was lovely. I've known Polly since we were 4, and she's always been that naughty. Says that. So where would I like to go? That's kind of, well, Whitby, because I'd like to see the steps that like Dracula went up, and also I used to love the Whitby Witches by Robin Jarvis, which is fantasy, going back to fantasy. So yeah, that would be good. Charlotte's saying maybe try fantasy on audio. I'm dreadful with fiction on audio. I just can't do it. It has to be non-fiction. I don't know why that is. The most fictional thing I listen to on audio is The Archers for 15 minutes every day. But yeah, so I kind of, anything fiction for some reason on audio, it doesn't quite work for me. But going back to where I'd like to go in the UK, that's literary. The obvious place is I would love to go to Daphne du Maurier's estate, and actually go to Cornwall and some of the places that she would frequent a lot, because I've never done that, and I absolutely love everything Daphne. I recently read Frenchman's Creek, which is I hadn't, Rebecca's one of my all-time favorite books, and I hadn't read any Daphne's for ages. Picked this up while I was in Wales, not this weekend gone, 3 weeks ago, because I can't get enough of North Wales, and just devoured it and thought it was phenomenal. So I need to get back to it. Louise would like to know my 5 favorite authors in the last 5 years. Ayobami Adebayo. Is this new? Is this got to be new to me? Authors, Louise, because there's like, if I'm just going for authors that I've discovered in the last few years, Julia Rochester. I absolutely loved her book, and you might see that get mentioned on Friday. I discovered Sarah Winman in the last 5 years. Who else? I think Karis Davis was before that, because that was when I was blogging. So I used to keep a reading blog, Savage Reads, and that used to be, sorry, the raspberries have made me fizzy. And that was kind of like a diary, I guess, as well. But I make a distinction weirdly now between Savage Reads as this and Savage Reads as that. I don't know why. Who else would I say that I've discovered that I'm really excited to see what, who else do I really love? Ayobami Adebayo, Julia Rochester, Sarah Winman. I'll keep thinking about the other 2. Best to go to Whitby on Goth Weekend, Rachel says. I would like to go on Goth Weekend, but that's when it's going to be the most expensive and when it's going to be the most busy, I think. So that puts me off slightly. Not to be a contrary Mary Fairy, which I can sometimes be. Yeah. Scout Harris has been to Jamaica, and I'm very jealous. I've always wanted to go there, and I've never been. Yeah, the Daphne du Maurier Museum there is meant to be amazing, but I've not managed that one. I'm still thinking of authors that I've discovered in the last 5 years. That might be a really good video. Some of the authors that I've discovered in the last 5 years that I'd really like to sort of talk about. Favorite independent bookshops? Well, bit of my heart belongs to Scarthing Books in Cromford, because that's the bookshop that I've been going to since I was in my mummy's tummy, because it was the local one to us. Me, my gran, and my mum would go. Well, my mum and my gran would go. And then when she was pregnant, obviously, and then when I was a baby, I was taken there very, very quickly, and still love visiting now when I go back to my hometown. What other ones do I love? The Book Bar that me and Melanie filmed at the other day. That was kind of absolutely incredible. I just loved it, and I love the fact that she has opened, Chrissy who runs it has opened a bookshop during a pandemic, and it is flying. Oh yes, Jenny Loves Book says Quake Emeze. Yes, they're definitely one of my favorite writers. By the way, you don't just have to ask questions about books, you can just ask anything. Yes, Amanda read them. Robert Jones Jr., who wrote The Prophets. I'm very excited to see what he writes next. Jess Kidd, yep, completely right. Read alongs. You all know better than I do. So that's what this is telling me, is that I have no idea about what I love, and you all do now. Josephine May Eskildsen. It's not really book related, but would you ever consider making a video going more in depth about not going to university? Possibly. I guess it's one of those things that I don't think about so much. I mean, my story was that and it's something we don't really talk about, so that's another reason that I might not want to make a video about it, but I ran away from home when I was 16 for lots of reasons. And I went to become a hairdresser in Portsmouth for a year and a bit, and then went home because I had a horrible breakup, and then ended up working at the Millennium Dome, which is now the O2 Arena in Greenwich in London, and sort of then just solidly worked. And I didn't read between the ages of 16 and I would say 23, 22, 23, maybe 24. And then my friend Polly, the aforementioned naughty Polly who opens things, that she shouldn't, gave me, I was going to have some quite major surgery, and she gave me three books. She gave me Tess Gerritsen's The Surgeon, which is about a psychopathic surgeon. Perfect read, Polly, for when for when you're having an operation. And then the Rebecca, which was the one that just, I read that first, funnily enough. I didn't read about the psychopathic surgeon until after I'd had my operation, and also The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie, and that was it. I went off again. And then I started to keep a blog, and then I was working next to TLS at the time, and they would get so many proofs and stuff. They would just kind of pass them over to us and do charity sales, and that was it. The blog started it, then I did a podcast, and then I ended up doing this. So that's kind of it. I don't know if that would that be like a whole video worthy, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Beth Burtwin says, news from where? News from nowhere. News from Nowhere is a lovely bookshop in Liverpool. I haven't been in it enough. I think because I was in the library in Liverpool, I was always spoilt for choice with that, or because I worked at events for Waterstones, I would get books for that. So yeah, I haven't used it as much as I would like. So that's just me being very honest. Trin Holm wants to know, hey, how are you doing? Say, I'm very well. A little bit sunstroked from North Wales, bringing it up again, and the amazing time that I've had there. So yeah, it was just incredible. Louise would like to know, have you watched both series of Pose? I'm halfway through the second. Oh my God, love. I started watching it, and unpopular opinion clanging. What's the term? Clanger, whatever. I didn't love it, but I now really want to go back and start it again, because I think it was just where I was at in my brain. Janie Edward, what was your first job relating to books? So I used to do some stuff. So I used to do reviews for some of the newspapers. And then I guess my first proper job would have actually only have been Liverpool libraries. So before that, I was doing book reviews, book podcasts, and sort of this, and that's led to me doing more and more sort of bookish work, I guess. But I was reviewing in some of the broadsheets and stuff before. So yeah. Tracy Edwards. Oh, Josie, I'm going to Liverpool next year. Definitely check out News from Nowhere, Josie. It is a wonderful. When I've been into it, the few times I've been in, it is a really lovely place. Amanda Reid, I need pictures of Simon Teen Hairdresser. Sadly, I don't think I have any anymore. And also, because we got burgled a couple of years ago, I had digitized any pictures that I did have. Actually, no, I might have some upstairs, actually, in the attic, maybe, along with my self-portrait like Dorian Gray. Yeah, I lost all my digital photos as well, so that's a bit of a sad one. Tracy Edwards, you mentioned possibly doing a video tour of Highgate Cemetery. That would be so fascinating. I would love to do that, and I am planning on possibly doing something like that. Me and Elizabeth McNeil would like to do all 7 of the cemeteries. Jess Kidd and I would also like to do some of the cemeteries, and Melanie really wants me to give her a tour of Highgate Cemetery, because I used to be a tour guide there. So you never know what could happen. So there, we've got that teaser for you. I'd love to do it. I really loved it there. It's a really odd thing to say, but I find cemeteries really peaceful. And there's something about Highgate. It does have an otherliness about it, and there are lots of myths and legends about vampires and all those kind of things, which we weren't allowed to comment on, actually, when I was a tour guide there. So I don't know if I technically am or not now. But it's got a very, I don't know, there's just something about Highgate that's got like a really extra vibe to it than other cemeteries have. So that's my cemetery chat. I don't know if you all have seen my vlog, Reading Books by the Sea, literally by the sea, but staying in a chapel with the graveyard garden. That was like, I just thought that was incredible. Really, 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 really cool. So yeah, I'd like, and that actually leads up, I guess, to some questions I guess I have for all of you that I can hopefully see like some responses to, because I am sort of thinking like, what do I do with Savage Reads now that it's 5? Like, what's the future? Because I think I don't want the channel to end up being too repetitive. And that's why I was asking about whether I do single review videos, single haul videos once a month, or single wrap-ups, because now that I'm wanting to kind of go down to 3 videos a week just for my own sanity, including a weekly vlog, which will obviously have, it'll be a routine video, but they won't be routine because they'll be very different, because I'll go here, there, and everywhere and reading different books. But I don't want it to become like this sort of haul, wrap up, vlog, haul, 1 in, 1 out, try a chapter, vlog, wrap up, haul, vlog. So I feel like I want to mix it up a little bit, and I'm just trying to work out how to do that, and what I don't want to veer away from books. That would never happen, because books are my like one true love. Although Bessie, the English Shepherd dog puppy this weekend, could also be described as one of my one true loves, and I still wish that I'd brought her home, but she was 4 weeks old and it couldn't happen. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of that, I don't know, like the idea of doing kind of allotment stuff as that happens, because I just think that'll be really fun, because it'll be a me and Chris project. That'll be really, really nice. And I think if we move house, we know we'll probably buy something that will be a fixer-upper. So that's something that I'd like to do, like sort of videos on doing that up if it happens. As well as I'd like to do videos more about libraries or cemetery tours, or, do you know what I mean? I think it's that thing where I just don't want it to feel too samey. And I'm not going to not do wrap-ups, and I'm not going to not do hauls, but I think it's just finding balance with everything. I don't know. I need to think about it a little bit more, or maybe not. Maybe just do what I feel like and see what works and what doesn't. Because, like I said earlier, I'm not bothered. Not in a rude way. I love that there are people who watch this. You know, you don't make videos to not be watched. That would be bonkers. But at the same time, like, I don't focus on viewer numbers or subscription numbers, because I don't think that's healthy, but also you can start to second guess yourself. And I found that with when I was doing a blog, that sometimes I would be thinking about what I was creating for an audience rather than just writing what I wanted to write. That could all just be absolute tangent for you all, and you're all just thinking, oh, Simon, shut up, have another sip of your raspberry fizz pop. Well, I will. So that's kind of one of my thoughts. What should I do with the channel if there's another 5 years of it? What is the plan? So I don't know. I know that for my 40th, which is next March, I would like to do like my 40 favorite books of all time. And obviously I'm sort of supposed to be reading 40 books by the time I'm 40. That's not going very well. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think, yeah, I would like to do some more. And also, I think the other thing that I'd really like to do is test myself a little bit. Like, I don't feel like I know a lot of you say don't edit because it's that natural conversation that we have, which I love. And that's one thing that the biggest compliment ever for me with this channel is when people say it's literally like they've joined me for a chat, as if we are literally sat chatting like we are now because it's live. But that's the biggest compliment. So I don't want to edit more in terms of like making it too stop and starty, but I think I would just like to try and push the boundaries of what I'm filming a little bit more and try out new things. That said, again, being slightly enigma-y, not a real word, being a bit of an enigma, I guess, or being a bit mysterious, or just being a tease, I'm hoping that some stuff that I'm going to be doing this summer filming-wise is going to be capturing things in a slightly different way. So that could be quite exciting. So Amanda Reed says, as long as the Bing content continues, you've got me. I have to admit, I don't think there's been any Bing content in the vlogs recently because I've not been at home, and I haven't worked out what the timings are of the bins in London when I've been there. So yeah, so that's a tricky one. Oh God, I don't want to accidentally leave the thing. I keep worrying that I'm going to kick myself out again. So have I missed any comments or questions? Amanda says, I think most, if not all of us, are fine with whatever you choose. Scout loves cuppa and catch-ups. I enjoy those once a month as well. I was thinking, like, do I start doing a cuppa and a catch-up live every month? So instead of doing that video, I do this, but it's like I literally tell you what's going on or what's happened, what is going on, what's coming up live, so that we can all have a lovely chat about it. I think that would be nice. Where's my books? There's like all these ideas, especially the do what you feel like idea. Gillian says, mix it up, do what inspires you, and that will inspire us. Oh, that's very kind. That's a lovely thing to say. Matthew, hi, how are you? I'm very well, Matthew. I hope you are too. What about a book based on gardening post once a week? So, for example, the only thing with something like that is that I think if you do something like that once a week, I've only got 3 videos per week. So that would make 4 videos out of 12 a month, and that's quite a high portion. So I think those sort of videos I need to sort of do spread. Like, I'd like to do more themed ones. So it could be that I do like a themed reading vlog around gardens, because I'm already planning. So, because as I mentioned, I went to North Wales this weekend and stayed where On the Red Hill is written about, with Mike, and who wrote it, and his partner in their amazing gardens, I've said. I would quite like to do, we're going back there in September, and then I'm actually going to be, so I'll be camping there for a week, and then there's a festival that I curate the literary strand for, and I'll be in a yurt for that whole weekend following it. So maybe while I'm doing that, I could do like read nature books the whole time. I don't know. I think it's about that sort of sometimes teaming with the theme, I guess, and doing something like that. I think that could be quite good. I know that Chris would be quite keen to do some gardening stuff. So his might be that he does cookery one week, gardening the next, cookery, gardening, because I think they would, especially with allotments, they'd all run into each other. Anyway, went off on a right tangent about that. Jenny loves books. I think you just have to try things and see how it goes. You're right. It's fun to watch you wang on about things. I used the term wang on in a really important meeting the other day, and I wasn't sure how much of the digital room got what I was saying or not. It was quite worrying. But I will try and do, Amanda, more Bing content. You're right. I've let you all down on that one. General life vlogs, allotment. So that's what I think I want to do with the vlogs as they go on and as they sort of develop and progress. I think it will be that, yes, I'll be telling you about what I'm reading at the start, at the middle, and at the end without spoilers, because wrap-ups, you'll find out more then. But I think it's also like making sure that in amongst all of that, I sort of capture the other little moments, maybe. Who knows? Or I don't want to do a second channel, but that could also be a potential option. So there we go. What else? Let's see. What other people have said? Bing content, yes. Interviewing people. So Rachel's reading says she really likes all the videos where you interview people or do other things really entwined with the bookish world. I think I would like to do more videos with people now that we're able to go out a little bit more and socialize in the UK. I would like to do that. I think it's quite interesting. I think in the 5 years that I've been doing this, I guess the people around me have changed a bit as I've sort of developed and stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I would like to do that. I think that would be nice. Cat content, there's always going to be cat content. So yeah, Oscar doesn't get as much content as he likes. He generally just sleeps somewhere we can't work out every day. He moves around, whereas Millie follows me around like a little shadow, which is why you get a lot more Millie content than you do Oscar. I nearly said Willy content. That's not the sort of content you're getting on this channel. What about reading a book and doing a review in the place that it's set? Louise said, yes, that's kind of what I do a little bit in the vlog with this one. So, and it's what I did when I was doing the books by the sea, books set by the sea, reading them by the sea. Keisha Cooper says, I'm Bessie. We aren't going to get Bessie, sadly. She has got my heart, and I will put a picture of her on Instagram shortly because she's stolen my heart. And some people are saying, oh, you can't get that because you've got cats. From my limited experience of dog and cat combos, if you get a puppy, the cats put it in its place pretty sharpish, and that is how the hierarchy is evermore. So I wasn't too worried about that. Mildred would just totally put a puppy in its place. She wouldn't have any problems with that. She did it with Oscar when she moved in. So, you know, Leah would like a live catch up every month. That seems to be quite a popular one, so that's quite a nice one. People like the idea of themes and theme videos. I can't breathe, call 911. Why? What's happening? Why can't you breathe? Tell us all. Is it something to do with the books I was holding up? I don't know what's going on there. Or possibly it's somebody who I'm putting in time out because I think they're just being odd. Anyway, so I've been chatting for nearly an hour. Have you any final questions, suggestions, or anything else that rhymes with shuns that you would like to discuss with me? Let me know. Oh, what's the swap TBR video? I don't know that. That's the other thing as well. I don't know, like, I feel like I don't know what the cool kids are doing on BookTube. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the sort of trends are anymore. And I watch a lot of it still, but I don't watch as much as I would like because you've got to find about. That's why I'm going to go to less videos, because you've got to find the time to read in order to make the content. Not that you should be reading to make content, but what I mean is, if I don't read any books, I'm not going to have much to talk about. So it's better to have less. But then also, if I'm just watching too much BookTube, I've had to really limit the amount. Where's my book says shenanigans? That's my favorite word, I think, shenanigans. I'm tempted to get it tattooed somewhere, but I don't know if that would be the best thing to do. I've become ultra, isn't it weird? That comment that I got about my hair in that video that I did on Friday about, like, oh, Simon, I love your channel, but I really wish you'd sort your hair out, that ended with hugs. It's really bothered me, and I need to sort of move on. Amanda, I've never been trendy, so we don't need to worry about that. I was talking with my assistant Tess just last week when we saw each other for the first time in real life in 15 months. It was amazing. We had like 2 whole days together. It was brilliant. I was always at school the kid who was like one behind whatever the trend was. So when Doc Martens were trendy, I was still in Clark's, and then when Kickers were trendy, I was in Doc Martens, and then it went like that, which I thought was unfair because my mum was a teacher at the school. She knew what was going on. Yeah. What about a series where you get other booktubers to chat about what they're reading or enjoying recently? I did do that. It's just about being in the same room, because I'm going to be really, really, really honest. I am so zoomed out that I think me and Manu were both like, we need to just do this in real life, because Zoom it's just not the same. And at the moment, because of how much I'm going to be traveling over the summer, I don't know what time I'm going to have to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll see. What I would quite like to do potentially is like get, if any librarians are up for it. And actually, at work on Wednesday, we're launching something. Keep your eyes peeled, because I'll tweet it, where we're going to be getting people to send in reviews of books, but more on that on Wednesday. I would like to kind of capture sort of librarians' favorite books, but it's quite hard when you go somewhere. It's like, hi, you don't know me. Can I put a camera in your face and ask you a question? So you have to, and also because of GDPR now, you have to be so careful with making sure that you've got people to sign off that they're happy with. So in fact, I don't think Melanie's ever signed off that she's happy to be in any of my videos. So who knows what could happen there at any moment. I like the idea of doing Becca's Bookopoly, Rachel. That's a really, really nice idea. And actually, one thing I was thinking the other day was, I really like these games that some channels are doing with their TBR. So like Gav does like almost play your cards right, and then is it Colby, I want to say, who does spin the wheel, and Becca does her Bookopoly. And I'm like, what could Simon do? I was looking at my Uno set the other day. I was thinking, oh, what could I do with Uno cards that could pick my TBR? So yeah. Sarah wants to know, have you chosen a winner for the 5 copies of the book selections from last video? No, because I'm going to give that until at least another week. I think it would be unfair to do it so quickly. Also, literally, I filmed that video, uploaded it, left, and I only got back like a few hours ago. So no, I have not done that. And I've had no signal for the whole weekend. And do you know what? It was a joy. I had no Wi-Fi. I had no signal, and it was so freeing. And then the weirdest thing happened when we got back into range of signal. Not when we were just out for dinner, because I would only pick up my phone, put some pictures up of what I was liking, and then close it. But today, when it was like in the car on the 2-hour journey back and I had signal, I got really anxious about going back on Instagram and Twitter. And I don't know why that was, because well, particularly Instagram. I blinking love it. I don't think I'm particularly good at it at the moment, but I do really, really, really love it. So no, I have not chosen that yet, but it'll happen in due course. Jenny King has a TBR game that's called Deck of TBR. Oh, I'm going to check that out. Jay's River Pursuit TBR, I haven't seen that. I'm going to have to look that one up. And yes, Silly Seals, each number or colour could be a prompt or type or genre. Yeah, I think I'm going to look into that because I quite like the idea of a monthly TBR game. And I'd even cut up, because it's is you know. I was thinking of like, what can I do that's something, like something TBR, I need to think about it a little bit more, but any suggestions, feel free to send them my way. So I'm going to stay for another 10 minutes and make it 1 hour and 15 minutes of live non-stop action. So any more questions, please feel free in the last 15 minutes to ask away. And it doesn't have to be booky. It can be about work. It can be about life. It can be, I don't know, anything that you'd like to ask. Cody's Wheel of TBR. Yes, I love Cody's Wheel of TBR. I'm hoping, I was going to be doing a reading sprint with Cody and Becca, and I was in Wales, so I couldn't do it. But I will do one at some point. Thank you, everybody, for your congrats on 5 years. I can't believe it's been 5 years. That means it's technically been 5.5, well, not 5.5 years, but just over 5 years since me and Jane Campbell sat in, I think it was in Dishoom, having lunch, and I was asking her all about it, or brunch, and she's like, just do it, just try it. And I'll always think of her as my BookTube fairy godmother for that, because she was just brilliant. Dan Kelly, hello Dan Kelly, are you back from Birmingham? Where are those glasses from? They're delightful. These are from a company called, actually they're really dirty, so I don't want to hold them too close, Zimph, and they are slightly floral. And I did do a video where I matched my reading to the glasses I was wearing, because they sent me a load of things. Jenny Liz Books wants to know, what is Chris? Oh, I've had a hello from Canada. If you, wherever you are in the world, just tell me, because I'm very excited about that. That always excites me. Sorry, I was just going to ask, what was the questions? I missed some. Graham said your Instagram is perfect. That's very kind, but I just don't think it's booky enough. And then I beat myself up that I'm not like as bookstagrammy as like Charlie, who I adore, the book boy who's been on this channel and stuff. I don't know. I feel a bit, yeah. Amanda's just said Gavin takes years off his own life whenever he does a TBR game. He does. Book talk is the new thing. Do you know what? I'm going to let the young'uns and anyone else who gets on Book Talk and enjoy it have that. I have Twitter, I have this, I have Instagram, I have a day job, and I have other freelance projects. I don't think I can fit Book Talk in. I also don't think I'm creative enough. I struggle with reels on Instagram, let alone blinking Book Talk TikTok. Jenny loves books. What's Chris cooking for tea? Nothing. Chris had to go to work, so I am cooking my own tea, which basically means I've bought a curry from the supermarket, which I'm very, very excited about. So there's that. Somebody just asked what. Oh, sorry, Dan. I told the world that you went to Birmingham, because you did. I like Birmingham though. I just wouldn't go for a day trip. I like to go for like a weekend. Sorry, what did I miss? If you could choose a job apart from what you do now, what would you like to work at / for? That's a really good question. Read along with Sue Ward. I would love, so initially I wanted to be a vet, but I don't think I would be cut out for it. I did do that as my work experience though, and I didn't faint when I watched the operations or when I had to get frozen animals out of the freezer that died. So I could have done it possibly, although I'm not sure how I would have done with the operations. The real job, if I'm being 100% truly honest, of what I really, really, really wanted to do before I decided I didn't want to go to university, was that I wanted to be a forensic psychologist. So someone who goes to crime sites and works out psychologically the profile of the criminal. And actually working in a prison library, I found fascinating when I did that. Sometimes when I was at Liverpool, that was great. What else would I like to do? If I could have like my dream job in books, I would love my own imprint. That's like the major dream that I would absolutely love to have. People keep asking me if I want to write a book, and the answer is that I just think I'm a reader. Like I've got a few ideas of what I would write if I was going to, but the urge hasn't taken me, and I think if you've got that urge. Graham wants to know, what's your favourite dish to cook together, Chris? We don't cook together ever. I am not allowed in the kitchen when Chris is in the kitchen. It's very much like, this is my space in the house. The kitchen is Chris's space. He's a trained chef. It's what he loves. Doesn't love me making a mess and stirring things the wrong way around, which apparently I do. Gosh, we've got people from Bristol, from Canada, from Seattle, from India. Amazing. Connecticut in the USA, more Bristol. Amanda dreams of a Waitrose behind the scenes video for Chris. I don't think you'd be allowed to do that, you know. I don't know. Waitrose are great. Like Waitrose and John Lewis they're the same company, and they're some of the best employers ever. Like they have hotels that are just for the staff. There's one down south on an island in a castle, no lie, that we're going to go and stay at in the summer when I have a library event very near it. So that's very, very exciting. Yeah, but I don't know but I love on other people's channel, and this is what I mean about like maybe more everyday stuff appearing on mine, because I always think it's nice to sort of create the internet you want to see, but also everything that you do, you want it to be genuine and you want to be enthused about it. So it's kind of got to be the stuff you love watching. And I love seeing other people go around their supermarkets all over the world. I just find it fascinating, because one of the first things I do when I go to a different country is head to the supermarket to go and see what treats and delights they have. Got people from Wales, Oklahoma. Savage Books imprint would be cool. I would love it. It nearly happened once. So yeah, one day it can be the dream. Fudge Muffin wants to know, do you analyse a book differently after joining BookTube? My answer is, as a judge of book prizes, as a booktuber, as anything that I do with my role as an interviewer of authors, I always read the book like a reader, because I think anyone who reads a fair amount could do what I do. Any of you could do all of the stuff I do. It's all really achievable. And I think one of the things that I like to think gets me some of the roles that people might not have perceived someone who didn't go to university and has a BookTube channel and all that kind of stuff, is that I come to it all just as a reader. I'm not an academic. I'm not like overlooking. I mean, for me, and interestingly, and I think I can say this, we talked about this when we were shortlisting for the Desmond Elliott, and the shortlist comes out this week. But I read, for me, it's about the prose and the writing. It's about the story, and it's about the connection to the text in some ways, which is sometimes unfair because certain texts but that's what happens, isn't it? Certain books sing to you, and that is how I do it. Sorry, that was a very long answer to that. But yeah, so that was my criteria. Waitrose doesn't have a castle for its employees. It has a hotel that is in a castle. The island is owned by the National Trust. It's also got like secret hotels in other places around the UK just for its staff. But that's how good an employer it is, because they get to stay for a very reduced rate compared to any other hotels. But also there's things like they do a Alton Towers Day, which is a theme park in the UK. They do a day for John Lewis stuff and stuff like that. It's such a great company to work for. So am I going to do a vlog with Chris on cookbooks? Jumana would like to know. No, Chris is hopefully going to do his own channel. It's just taking a bit longer than we anticipated, which is why earlier I said I need to not overpromise, not only for myself, but for others. But hopefully that will happen in due course. DM is in Maryland and says, how much time do you spend reading on average day? It honestly depends, because I read for work. I will put time aside to read. So when I'm prize judging, because I'm being paid to do that, I put time aside like I would any other job. But if I'm just reading purely for pleasure, which I think this channel is more about, and that's one thing I want to say, like a lot of people say, oh, is this channel work? Not really, because I read what I want. I don't feel like I'm reading for publishers or for anyone else. I'm just reading what I want and talking about it and documenting it and, you know, wanging on about it. But otherwise, if it's work, obviously I separate time. But if it's not, I think I get really cranky if I don't read for at least 2 hours a day. It's just the way I am. But what's quite lucky is that Chris works on shifts. So sometimes he has to leave the house at like 5:30. And because quietness isn't one of his strengths, I wake up early so I can read then. Or like tonight, he won't be back until 10, so I've got time that I can read after this. I'm not going to though, because I'm not going to start another book until tomorrow. And I'm going to watch a film, I think, on possibly something wild. Istanbul, by the way, of Liverpool, Denmark, Nebraska. Oh, I love it. I love all the different places that everyone Everyone comes from. Fudge Muffin says, do you need to connect with characters in a book to enjoy it? No, I don't have to like them. And sometimes I quite enjoy not liking characters. And actually, going back to this that I mentioned earlier, I didn't like quite a few characters in here that I was spending time in the heads of. But I liked reading about their lives. I don't have to feel like a character is me or have any certain connection. But it's about a book singing or chiming with you, and that doesn't necessarily mean the characters are the same as you or you know the world. There's just something. I think books are magic. I think there's a certain bit of magic going on with it all, to be honest. Sarah said I should do a reading Nan's favourite books video. That is something I'm planning on doing at some point in the next year. The reason I say the next year, which is quite a big grand scheme of reading, is every time I do a reading themed vlog, I do find by the end of it, I'm like, right, why did I have to pick a theme? Why am I not ever just reading by whim? Which is why for the next month, I'm going to read read completely by whim. Alpha Mike, have you started Hidden Valley Road yet? No, I haven't, but I'm going to very soon. And hello, Dumfries is exotic, so don't you dare say that it's not. It very much is. Sarah's would like to know, and maybe this can be the last question actually. Sarah's would like to know, what if you can choose one non-fiction and one fiction must read for all of you, what would it be? Non-fiction, I would say The Trauma Cleaner by Sarah Krasnostein, because I think that will make you look at society and people who we don't think we have judgments against, but we probably do without realizing it, and it will make you think about that. So I would pick that one. And then a fiction book that I would recommend to you all, I would say it's either Mr. Loverman by Bernardine Evaristo or Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. It's a hard one to pick. Or Tin Man by Sarah Winman. So, but you'll see more of those books possibly mentioned on Friday when I do my 25 books that I've loved most in the last 5 years. And it will possibly shock some of you because some of the books that were my books of the year did not make it into the top 15. And I was shocked. I was shocked. So on that bombshell, I'm going to say goodbye to you all. But it's been a real joy. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry there weren't any party poppers or streamers. I'm sorry I didn't have a party hat. But that's a goal for the 6th birthday, isn't it? We can't, I was thinking sort of 5th, 10th, 15th. They're the ones you have to look at. Every birthday should be special. Some more special than others, though. I'm going to say that because I'm putting that on record because it's my 40th next year. And one thing I've decided that I'm going to do for my 40th next year, my present to me, is I'm going to go to Eurovision next year. That's what I'm going to do. Not to perform and sing, obviously, but I'm going to go because I've always wanted to go, and life is too short and you never know what's going to happen. And in the last few weeks, actually, Chris and I have friends who have, or one friend passed very suddenly, and we have 2 friends who've been widowed very suddenly. And it does remind you, not to end on a sad note, but it does remind you that you have got to make the most out of things as much as you can. And that's why, I want to say as well, if any of you are thinking of starting a channel, if any of you are thinking of doing anything creative and you're a bit nervous about it, just do it. Because the worst thing that can happen is it just doesn't work out, but that's not a bad thing. Just go out and be cheeky so-and-sos. And if there's something you've always wanted to ask someone or something you've always wanted to ask if you could do or whatever, ask it, because the worst thing that anyone can say to you is no, and that's just 2 letters of the alphabet, and that's all it is. So I'm ending on that note, that no note, but it's a positive thing. But I just want to say, actually, before I go, I cannot thank you all enough, those of you who've watched this earlier, those of you who are here now, those of you who watch this later, for chatting away to me, for commenting. I know I had a big phase where I didn't comment and I felt awful about that, and I haven't commented to a lot of Fridays, and I will. But honestly, without you all watching and without you all chatting away, this whole community, can I call it a community? I like to think it's a community. I've not given you any names I suppose I'll call some of you my ducks. Anyway, but without all of you, I would not be doing this. And also this has been, I'm not going to lie about it, like a platform for me to go off and try and do other things that I never would have considered. And without you guys watching and being so engaged and so delightful and all that kind of stuff, it just means a huge amount to me. So I'm not going to cry and get emotional, although I am a little bit, and even reading your comments on Friday's post today made me quite emotional. But I just, thank you all so much. It's so lovely to hear that you enjoy it and that you feel like it's a chat, and that I know some of you have messaged about how like it's been great when you've been going through some tough times. It's the same for me. Like when I was shielding, if I hadn't had this, it could be a very, 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 very different situation, because I struggled. I made out like I didn't, but I definitely did. And you lot made it so much easier. So thank you all very much. I've talked for almost 1 minute and 20 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to carry on for the next 23 seconds. I'm going to keep going, but honestly, thank you all. And I can't thank you enough. And do keep comments coming about other things you'd like to see, what you'd like to hear more about, what I can tweak. Like, I'm all for constructive criticism. I'm not, I don't have a problem with that. But here's to the next 5 years. I'm going to raise my fizzy raspberry. And I will speak to you all very, very soon. Bye.